Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Package Tourist, hosted by yours truly, the Package Tourist and the magical mystery tour called life, Matthew DiBiase. Tonight's guest is science fiction and horror author Peter DeChristopher. Peter resides in Vail, Arizona, and in addition to being an author, is an avid blogger, musician, and also worked in the financial field while also publishing several articles on finance. In 2022, he published his first book, Pangea, and in 2024, he released his second book, Pangea, the Scrolls of Panduar. Tonight, we will pay tribute to his writing career. Peter, please tell our audience about your first book, Pangea.
Sure. I want to thank you, Matthew, for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Pangea is a story that was on a galaxy created at the beginning of this universe in the Sombrero Galaxy. The planet itself is located in a system called the Scarlet Solar System, and it's called that because the sun is a red dwarf sun that projects a very dim scarlet hue. The planet has evolved with such prehistoric creatures and modern-day creatures that the evolution of the people are more in a medieval type of living. So their weapons are primitive, the way they live is primitive. And the book evolves around Isolde, a sorceress, who takes on evil itself, and evil's disciple, Abaddon. Along with the other five kingdoms of Pangea, they battle him over into the Dark Tower. And it's an adventure story. It's a story that has a lot of killing, a lot of torture, all the good stuff in life.
Yeah, just turn on the daily news,
Exactly.
Peter, when it comes to writing your books, how much preparation do you engage in with regards to character development and plot lines before you actually start writing?
Well, Pangea itself, in college, I studied geology and archaeology. So a lot of the ideas I get, like Pangea itself, was from studying geology. What I try to do then is develop characters, and since it's in the Sombrero Galaxy, there are no humans. Why would there be? It's 28 million light years from Earth. So I try to develop characters that will go along with the plot itself. Therefore, you have Terrans, you got Waros, which are tiny elves, you got Malachi, which are giant, one-eyed, horned beasts, almost like Bigfoot. So I try to get it all together in that type of environment.
Okay. Now, Peter, in your two books, when you were writing your two books, did you ever start writing? You're writing on and then find yourself changing your mind as to how a character or characters were proceeding and alter the plot line while in the midst of writing?
All the time. I write mostly off the cuff, so I have an idea and I put it down. My biggest thing is that I edit, I think, more than I do writing. It takes me forever to edit. It takes me I change paragraphs, I change chapters. Everything gets changed as we go along. Because I get new ideas all the time. And the new ideas that are spontaneous, then I put it down to paper.
So is it accurate to say sometimes when you're writing, you have no idea how it ends, in a sense it evolves as you keep going? In a sense,
exactly.
So the end result's not predetermined then. It's just you're letting it develop naturally, correct?
Exactly. Okay. And I feel it flows better that way because I'm always coming up with new ideas.
Okay. Now, Peter, I was noticing on your LinkedIn page, is it true that you are working on a screenplay based on your first book, Pangea? Is that correct?
That's correct. Well, that's a story in itself. I'm dealing with a production company in New York, and they've done many, many movies, major movies that have done very well. So they were pushing the book, and every other day they tell me, we really need a screenplay. We really need a screenplay. We have people that can do that for you. And I was like, no. No one's writing any screenplay but me. I said, I will tackle that, and I will start it now.
Ooh.
No, I've never written a screenplay. I have no idea. I put myself into a situation where I'm saying, oh, my God, what do I do now? But luckily, when you go online, you could find anything. So what I did is I read George Lucas's screenplay for Star Wars, A New Hope, and I read Valenzuela's Dune, and I read the screenplays from beginning to end. to get an idea on how to write a screenplay. And I used those models in order to write the Pangea screenplay.
Okay. So it's an actual screenplay. You're not doing a treatment first. You're actually going right into the screenplay. Is that correct?
Right. I have the book as a basis. But like with any screenplay, I mean, Pangea is over 300 pages, and the Scrolls of Panduar are over 400 pages. The problem with a screenplay is you have to limit it to a maximum of 120 pages. They feel that each page is a minute of screen time.
Yeah.
So the Pangea screenplay was 103 pages. And of course, like anything else, you're cutting out a lot of the plot because you're limited in time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's always been a problem, how to trim a sequoia down to a toothpick, when you think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Peter, let's say through the grace of God, this film Pangea becomes a reality. Are you envisioning as an animated film, or will it feature live actors? What is your concept, your model in your head?
Both ways are really very good. Have you seen... Vail, the Shadow Lord, and have you seen the different Star Wars animations, like the Tales of the Jedi? They were done fantastic. The War of the Rohirrim. That can be a very, very good way to go, I think, in the future of film.
Okay. If you're featuring live actors and not animated, do you have any... Okay, let's say everything goes according to plan. Any idea as to what actors and actresses you would love to play the roles in Pangea?
Well, there are a few actors that can really take on any type of role, in my opinion. For example, like a Kelly Riley. Kelly Riley, I think, could play any role. I think a Halle Berry could play any role. A Nicole Kidman could play any role. A Kevin Costner can play any role. Those are very diversified, very experienced, and in what they've done in the past, they've taken on numerous amounts of characters in different situations. And I think that any one of them would be perfect.
Okay. Now, is there any way we can predict like a future release to this movie? Are wheels turning? Can we expect a release?
Well, the production company is right now shopping it around to producers and directors and production companies. So hopefully we'll get an answer soon. And if we do, we'll just take it from there and see whatever way they feel it should be done.
Do you have an agent, Peter?
I do not.
Okay.
And my biggest situation with that is, if you're not a George Martin or a J.K. Rowling or an R.L. Stein, nobody wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's like they threw Jesus out of the right hand of God and they sit there now.
Yeah. Peter, how difficult is converting a novel into a screenplay? Describe the process, because I myself have never written a screenplay, and I bet you a whole lot of people have never tried it too. Can you tell our listeners the difficulties that you encounter when converting a novel of great size as yours are into a screenplay?
Well, with the screenplays, you're describing either your inside or your outside. It has a lot more dialogue than the books have. The books have a lot of dialogue, but a lot of it is narrative too. So it's difficult to try to pick and choose what the highlights are and where you're going with it, and to keep it interesting. Because you want to keep it interesting. You don't want a boring screenplay.
Okay. Are you getting any help in the process? Are you operating totally alone, or is someone aiding you with the conversion process from novel to screenplay?
No aid. I do it all. Thank God for the internet, because the internet, you could find anything. And I use it a lot for research, and I use it a lot to get ideas and how to do certain things. And as for coaching, I have friends of mine who are very famous authors, sold hundreds of millions of books. And when it comes to things like this, basically they turn their back on you. They're only interested, like anything else, they're only interested in themselves.
Wow. Peter, do you have any advice to anyone out there listening who you can provide who would like to translate their novel into a movie? Any advice you'd like to give?
Yeah, I would say read all the screenplays. If If it's a love story, read love story screenplays. If it's science fiction or horror, read those screenplays and read multiple. They are a world of knowledge. And that could really, it's a different mindset, it's a different way of thinking, but they could really set you on a track.
Are there any websites where you can actually access the screenplays that you talk about? Any websites you can recommend?
What I did is I went to screenplay for, let's say, Star Wars: A New Hope, and the screenplay comes right up. I went on to Vail and Whalers Dune, and I put in Dune screenplay, and the screenplay comes right up, and you can read it right there. They're all online, which is amazing.
Okay. Peter, please tell our listeners, where can readers find your books?
Well, the books can be found on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com. They're also in bookstores in England and in Washington, D.C. I've done a lot of sales in Australia, which is pretty amazing how England and Australia really took to this.
Okay. Your production company, is it American-based or is it European-based?
No, it's American-based. It's based out of Queens, New York.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about your short stories, because I don't know if we talked about that when you appeared on my show last year. I'd like for you to talk about it. Now, you've written 4 of them. A Conversation with a Demon. What is that all about, Peter? A Conversation with a Demon.
Conversation with a Demon is more like, it's similar to Interview with a Vampire, where a baby is dropped off at a church in the Netherlands and is raised as a monk by the church. And as he gets older and becomes an adult, this figure appears to him while he's doing research in the library and starts a conversation with him and starts telling him that who he was. And he finds his mother, who's been by the devil for years, and how he saves her and how he sends her up to heaven.
Okay. Okay, the next one, Drusilla and the Feeders of the Night. What's that all about, Peter?
Drusilla is a really interesting story. Drusilla is almost X-rated. Now, I blame my wife for this because she's the one that encouraged me to write something. She says, you got to write something about sex. I'm like, I don't write about sex. I just write horror and killing and murder. So I wrote Drusilla, and Drusilla is 2 female vampires. It's right after World War II in Chicago. And they appear at night as almost like streetwalkers. Their thing is that they need to feed on human blood, but they can only feed by being sexually stimulated.
Oh my.
So the story, it's really, really different. And it's about a 10-page story, and you can read it in a half. Really, really, really different.
I'm kind of curious. I mean, is it a fact that, they're having sex and as soon as they reach the climax, they kill the person, or is it...
Exactly.
Oh my God.
They need the climax in order to feed.
I don't know, it kind of reminds me of something, some type of mythology from the Manson family or something like that.
Exactly.
I remember, was it that Merrick thing? They were talking about the death of, the Mansonoid called Christopher Jesus. He apparently played Russian roulette while he was getting it on or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was crazy, man. Okay, their next short story, The Sandman. What's that all about, Peter?
The Sandman is set in early 1920s in Kansas, in the middle of winter. And there's a family, because it's middle of winter, there's not much they can do with farming. So they have a young boy, very young, 5 years old, and he plays in his room, and a figure appears in his closet and keeps appearing in his closet and scaring him until he befriends him. And once they befriend him, he becomes his imaginary playpen. So then after a while, the demon wants to take over the child and take possession of the child, and he basically destroys the family, destroys the house, and mysteriously takes the child with him where the child has never seen before.
Wow. And your last short story, The Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow is about an entity living in the subways of New York City. And people downtown New York have been disappearing, and they can't find them. The last person that he abducts, they find a trail of blood, takes them down the subway tracks, and they come across an old abandoned subway platform, which is the old City Hall subway line, which was abandoned like in the 1940s. And how this entity grabs the people and tortures them until he's done torturing them, then he kills them. And the police officers find the trail, and they find where he is, and they go after him. And mysteriously, after all of this is done, and they find all the victims, he mysteriously disappears.
Wow. You know, it's eerie, Pierre. I don't know if you saw the evening news, but apparently there's this mysterious thing going on in the New York sewer system. There are videos of people mysteriously going into this, opening up sewer gratings and going down into the sewer system or coming out of it and almost getting hit by cars. I don't know if you saw that, but they don't know who these people are. I mean, it's kind of here. Maybe you ought to write a story about that.
Yeah, and you know, and with stories like that, you don't know what's real. You don't know if it's government sponsored. You know, they say about the shadow government.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Call it the sewer dwellers, not cellar dwellers,
exactly.
Sewer dwellers. Maybe you can do a short story about that. You know,
that's not a bad idea. Actually, that's pretty good.
Yeah. The sewer, the sewer. I don't know, something. Like a sewer filer or suicides. You know, or the sewer wars, or something.
Or an alien base underground. You know, there's always things like that.
Yeah, almost like Men in Black. How about men? Because they're wearing waders. These people are wearing waders and they're going down.
Right.
What the heck? No one knows what the heck they're doing.
Yeah, but when they went down, they didn't find anything either.
Yeah.
That's another scary thing.
Yeah. Oh, there was a question I wanted to ask you, Peter. Let's say, through the grace of God, Pangea hits the silver screen. Do you intend to make your second book, Pangea, the Scrolls of Panduar, as a sequel? Do you want to convert that?
I was thinking, the Scrolls of Panduar is a longer book, it's over 400 pages. What I was thinking on that is doing a part 1 and a part 2. Therefore, you can get more of the book in it and follow the adventures probably more closely.
Well, that's what they did with Dune, this recent Dune things. They literally split the first novel into 2, literally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they were fantastic movies. The first one that was done in, 1984?
Yeah.
That was, I liked that movie, actually. And it had a lot of narrative to explain things.
Yeah.
But the second movie was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I remember seeing that as a kid. I got a confession to make, Peter. My mother was fanatical about Frank Herbert and the Dune thing. She had all the volumes. She knew it forwards and backwards.
I read all the books myself.
Yeah, over, under, sideways, down. I bet she was a bit disappointed by the movie and all of that. But like you said, I think the technology didn't exist back then in the 80s. You know, it was very limited.
Exactly.
Yeah, now you can do it. You've got CGI, everything. The world, it's all possible now. Everything is possible, you know.
Herbert was a big influence on George Lucas.
Yeah.
You know, and when you look at the Star Wars and you look at Tatooine, the desert, that was basically based on Dune.
Yeah. Peter, did you ever hear about that Polish director? He wanted to do it in the early 70s. He was going to have like Mick Jagger, Alain Delon, and Salvatore Dali, but it never saw the light of day. And he had Mobius doing storyboards and all that. Did you ever see that documentary about that?
No, I've never seen that.
No, I've never seen it myself, but a friend of mine was telling me about it. It's insane, you know, the castings. Geraldine Chaplin, Mick Jagger as Fade Routha, Orson Welles as the Emperor, I think was the Emperor or the Baron or whatever, you know.
He would be more like the Baron. He's big like that.
Yeah. Alain Delon, I think, is either Duncan, Idaho. I think he was Duncan, Idaho. I forget who played the Duke or is going to be Paul. And all that. But
that's amazing. That would be an amazing film.
You go on the internet, I think you could find it. It was a Polish guy whose name escapes me, but it was supposed to come out in the early 70s, but it never saw the light of day. It was just too insane. It was way out of control and all that, and Hollywood refused to budget it. It was just nuts.
Yeah.
But someone made a documentary about that. Yeah.
And in those days, you don't know what the genre that was hot at the time. Like right now, you got fantasy science fiction, which is where all the money's being made.
Yeah. Peter, do you have an idea of your third book project? Anything in the works?
Yeah, the third book is called Pangea, The Dark Elves of Morabai. It turns Pangea 180 degrees for at least the first 60 pages, where it starts as Morabai is another planet in the Sombrero Galaxy that goes to war with the Draco reptilians. The Draco reptilians basically destroy the planet. And because what the elves are on Morabai, they take an elixir which gives them basically eternal life. And so the Dracos try to come in and destroy the planet. Now the elves that survive take off and want to escape and live in an isolated place, so they land on Pangea.
Okay.
Not knowing not knowing where that planet is, what it's all about.
Okay.
And Isolde and all of them come back into it because of almost like an invasion on their world. And I'm about 160 pages into that book now.
When can we expect its release, Peter? Any ideas?
Yeah, I'm shooting for December.
This year?
Yep.
Okay, I'm fully booked for the rest of this year. Maybe next year, I'll have you on, okay? We talk about it, okay?
Absolutely, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, and keep me posted about the screenplay, whether it becomes a reality or not, okay?
I will. Like I say, they're shopping it around now. And it's a fabulous screenplay. I mean, they love it. Everybody loves it. Just a matter of figuring out the budget and figuring out what production company is willing to take it on.
Wow, that's going to be something, man. Okay. Peter, you take care, okay?
You too, my man. I thank you very much again for this opportunity.
You're very welcome, and you're always welcome on my show, okay? And I can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
You take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for my next show, which will be air on Sunday, where I'll be interviewing author Jacqueline Finley. And also I'd like to remind my listeners out there that my latest book, Patriarchs of the Dugout, Baseball's Greatest Managers, is available at Amazon in either paperback or Kindle. You can just simply type in my name, Matthew DiBiase, MatthewDiBiase, or type in Patriarchs of the Dugout, Baseball's Greatest Managers, and it's there. It's on sale at 25% off and will remain on sale for the remainder of the baseball season. Thank you and good night.